Hello everyone, welcome back to Bible Study Daily Log, where we dive deep into God's everyday thing in wisdom and understanding. So our topic for today is the servant of all. And I'm going to be speaking to you about a time where Jesus was passing through a city, and when he passes through, people hear of Jesus coming to their city and they're all excited and they're shouting and they're just happy. And then there's a blind man who I believe was sitting at the gates of a city, and his name is Bartimaeus. And when he heard this, he began to shout and call for Jesus. So I'm going to read to you the scriptures, and it's in the book of Mark 10. In Mark 10, verse 47, I quote, it says, Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me. This is the phrase that the blind man continues to repeat and shout and shout. And he keeps saying, Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me. Have mercy on me. He continues to say this. And the people around him begin to rebuke him and begin to tell him to stay silent and just to keep quiet, thinking that Jesus will not pay attention to such a low and just low profile man as him. But truly I tell you, Jesus does not care about status to the people on the earth. For a king and a beggar are of no difference to God in the eyes of God. Because as long as they both have equal faith, then they are both equal in the eyes of God. Because at the end of the day, no earthly things get to go into heaven. No earthly things can affect heaven. For you can be a millionaire, but it will not do you any good in heaven. I promise you. So he keeps repeating this, and he keeps saying, Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me, have mercy on me. And this is when Jesus begins to hear this, and then Jesus spots him and tells one of his disciples to come and bring that man to me. Okay, one of his disciples come and call him, says, come, Jesus is calling you. And they guide him to Jesus. And in Mark 10 verse 51, this is where Jesus begins to speak to him. In Mark 10:51 it says, and Jesus said, what do you want me to do for you? And the blind man said to him, Rabbi, let me recover my sight. I quoted this because it shows that Jesus calls onto you, and when he calls onto you, he then speaks to you. Although this was a physical interaction between them, this is something that can happen in the spiritual realm. This is something that can happen when we want Jesus in our life, when we just, it's a time where Jesus comes to speak to us. Jesus can call you and pull you to him in many directions, in many different ways. You just need to be open. The same way that blind man was the first one to seek him. Then Jesus saw him, saw his faith, and called him, and then asked him, what do you want? So what do you want from the Lord? Whatever you want from the Lord, pray for it. And if it's by God's will, it shall come to pass. So I'm just here to say that you shouldn't let anyone silence your cry, because the people were trying to silence the man Bartimaeus for calling out to Jesus, thinking he was just nobody. But still, no matter who you are, Jesus sees you as an equal, the same way Jesus dined with sinners and tax collectors. There is no difference between them in the eyes of the Lord. So I'm just here to say to you that don't let anyone silence your cry. Call on to God and tell him what you want. Do not let anyone silence you for your faith, your belief. Do not. Because when you are a Christian, you shall not let the opinion of others get in the way of your faith. And that is all for today. And if you enjoyed today's Bible study, please feel free to like and subscribe and share it to someone else who might be blessed by it. If you have any suggestions or ideas, please feel free to comment down in the comment section. And that's all for today. Thank you for your time. God bless.